White House High School. I'm Caitlin Scott, and this is your BDP Beat. Our country is no stranger to the heartache and confusion that follows a school shooting. The breaking news alerting us on our phones, the scramble to figure out who did this and why, the parade of pictures days later of people who are no longer there. The endless gun debate, we know the routine. On Valentine's Day, 19-year-old Nicholas Cruz pulled a fire alarm at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. Then he aimed his AR-15 semi-automatic rifle and fired on students who thought they were taking part in a safety drill. 17 members of the school were killed, 14 others were injured. Instead of just settling into the routine of grief, like in previous years, students across the nation are now displaying their anger. The big question is, why are things different this time around? It very well could be because students at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas were able to post live footage of the shooting as it happened on Snapchat, leading to worldwide sensationalism throughout the internet. Nevertheless, teens are using their anger to enact change through protest and walkouts. Days following the school shooting, students from Marjorie Stoneman Douglas spoke at an anti-gun rally, demanding change from our president and other representatives.
The people in the government who were voted into power are lying to us. And us kids seem to be the only ones who notice and are prepared to call BS. Companies trying to make caricatures of the teenagers nowadays, saying that all we are is self-involved and trend-obsessed, and they hush us into submissions when our message doesn't reach the ears of the nation. We are prepared to call BS.
Proximity isn't an issue when it comes to opinions on change, as several organizations have sponsored walkouts throughout the country. Our own White House High School participated in the walkout last month on the 1-month anniversary of the Parkland shooting.
It's 17 minutes of silence to honor the 17 victims lost in the Parkland shooting. It's also kind of a way to for students to show that they don't feel safe and they want something to be changed, regardless of how you feel politically, just to show that we stand with the victims and we want something to change because it happens too much. People should realize that it's not a politicized thing. It's just a way to more memorialize the people that were lost and to show that we want to change. It's a big step to walk out of class, especially for 17 minutes, while you know that lecture is still going on or lessons are still being taught. So if you do walk out, it really shows that you care enough about other things outside of your classwork, and you care about the world and you know what's going on in the world.
Students voiced their frustration with the violence by sitting in silence. 1 minute of silence for each of the 17 victims. Seniors Juliana Lowe and Amber Schmallenberger, who were in charge of organizing our walkout, read out the names of the victims as each minute passed, saying that we should let the silence be uncomfortable. As we covered the walkout, we asked the students why they participated and what they thought could be changed to prevent shootings in the future.
Why are you walking out today?
Because not a lot of people are acknowledging the fact that all of these shootings are happening and how many have happened over the past year or 6 months or just a lot recently, and nobody is doing anything, saying anything. It's kind of just up to that one specific school to do something about it, and I don't think it needs to be that way.
Why are you walking out today?
Just to show that people care about this, for the people that lost their lives. And people keep saying it's a protest. It's not. It's people want to make it a protest, but anytime this happens in the world, like a mass shooting or something, they always want to make it about political stuff, and they don't take the time to actually think these people won't continue their lives, they won't be able to have families and such. And
I want to stop gun violence because I knew a lot of people that went to the Florida school, and it's just really hard to see how hard they're hurting and how much this means to them. And I know a lot of people down in Florida that are still suffering from it, even though it happened a while ago, but it's hard to go through that.
Because I want to in remembrance of the Parkland shooting and other school shootings in general, and just kind of protesting.
Well, the thing is, so many people thought that the walkout was this politicized movement, and it really wasn't. It was just a way of showing our solidarity and respect and unity to these kids who lost their lives, I participated as a form of, silent protest and respect and all that.
Honestly, I feel safe at our school. The doors are locked. I know that teachers will protect us. It's a small town. There's no reason to really be afraid. But the fact that it can happen to anyone, I think we just need to do whatever we can to prevent this.
You have these two sides saying, ban all guns, don't take our guns. But that's not what people are trying to do. What people are trying to do is just put restrictions so people like the Florida shooting or any other shooting don't get guns.
I personally believe that there should be restrictions because this is getting out of hand.
I think at least maybe a teacher each hallway should have a firearm just for protection. Yes, they should be tested mentally for it, but I think that would be able to protect more students.
Well, I know a lot of government-wise they're saying give teachers guns and stuff, but I don't think that is going to help anything. If anything, I think it's going to make it worse.
A gun problem or a people problem?
Kind of a little bit of both. Honest, if you want my honest answer.
Because I believe in the human spirit so wholeheartedly, I really think that it's more of a gun issue. I think that if people didn't have the access to guns, then there wouldn't be people that were being shot and killed. Not to say that guns should be taken away completely, but there definitely should be more restrictions on them so that people who aren't just using them for hunting or leisure activities or whatever, the people who have intent to kill, those people shouldn't be able to.
So you think this is more of a people problem than a gun problem. Can you explain why?
Because anybody can just pick up a gun and do stuff, but people always want to just, anytime this incident happens, it's always guns do this, guns do that. Guns can't do anything themselves, can't think or feel. It's always the people that have problems mentally or something that always ensue this, or they choose to do this. It's their fault. And
I want there to be restrictions. I want there to be laws to protect students, and I don't think arming teachers is a good way to go about, because at the end of the day, it's not that we're putting our lives into these people's hands, is that now these teachers, men and women that see us grow intellectually and everything, now they are given the choice of whether they shoot their students to save other students. And I don't think that's a fair decision.
Considering how passionate students here at White House High School are, not to mention all across the country, it seems likely that there will inevitably be some kind of change to prevent school shootings, and we can remain hopeful for the future.